Muy bien, amigos, tenemos una nueva entrevista. Hoy vamos a adentrarnos en el mundo de la música de los lentos, de esas baladas de los 80s, porque vamos a estar hablando con Kurt Meier del grupo Double, un grupo que lanzó un gran hit, una gran balada en 1986 llamada The Captain of Her Heart. The Captain of Her Heart. Y esa canción fue un ícono también de la música romántica de los 80s, así que vamos a estar hablando con él. No perdamos más tiempo. Thank you very much, Kurt, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome here. I know that you don't understand Spanish, but I was saying good things, you know.
Hola, Lautaro.
Thank you very much for your time. I really love it, this opportunity.
Yeah, it's a pleasure for me to be here.
Super, super. You know, I want to start because your name is Kurt Meier, or Meier, I don't know if I say it right. But you're from Switzerland. That's right. From what city exactly?
From Zurich.
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 Ah, okay, Zurich. Yeah. Great.
Zurich.
Your father was from France. That's true.
Yes, he grew up in France. Yeah, and my mother was Swiss.
Great, fantastic. So you speak French?
Un peu, oui, mais bien sûr.
Cool.
J'ai habité à Paris pendant 7 ans.
I want to know because your name is Kurt Meier, but your stage name is Kurt Maloo, or Maloo with double O. I want to know how this name came about. Why Maloo?
Well, in 1975, I wasn't actually an active musician. I mean, I always played the guitar since I was 11, but at that time I was a painter. Okay. And I didn't feel like signing my paintings with Kurt Meier, which is a very common name in Switzerland. So I thought it has to be, from the sound, it has to be phonetically something different, something exotic. And I just came up with the name Maloo, which was only because it sounded good. And 20 years later, a guy from Bombay or Mumbai in India, he wrote me that his name was Maloo, and he said, but I don't know you. I mean, you're part of my family, but I've never heard of you. Where are you from? And then I realized that Maloo was a very, not a common, more a rare name in India, but he was very glad to see that he has a new family member in Switzerland.
Wow, that's strange. That's funny. You know, in 1979, you released your first single, Giant Lady, on Forum Records. You know, I read something interesting. It was a studio recording using the ping pong technique. I don't know if you can explain me or explain us about that technique.
Well, it's actually different. The single Giant Lady was just a normal studio recording, 24 tracks. But the record after that, which is called Luna Luna, and the 7 notorious Maloo tapes, this was a ping pong technique. I had a Revox tape recorder.
Yeah.
And I recorded on one track, and then I made like a ping pong copy to the other track, and I had the opportunity to add another track, and then I played it back again. I mean, it was the only way at the time to have a multi-track recording. Of course, it got worse and worse the more you used the ping pong, and in the end it sounded like this, but at least it was the only way for me to record several tracks, because I played all the instruments.
Oh, okay. Now I understand. Well, you know, now with the computers and all the technology.
Oh yeah, now it's changed completely, of course.
Yeah, I know.
When you go to bed, when you
then this is so cool. You record 4 songs at the Roxy Music Studio. You know,
yes.
With the guitarist Phil Manzanera, so cool artist too, because he worked with Roxy Music, with David Gilmour.
more than that, you know
to know what happened with those 4 songs, because they never released on the market.
Yeah, unfortunately, they got never released because of legal problems. Because after the 4 songs, we made a deal with a record company, and the record company insisted that we re-recorded all the tracks again with another producer. In my opinion, it was a big mistake, because I really loved what Phil was doing with our songs as a producer, but we didn't have a record deal. So, I mean, we were unknown. We didn't have the power to say no, you know?
Of course, I know. No, I know that. Do you have that demos maybe in the future?
Oh yeah, I still have them on tape, yeah, but I don't have a tape recorder anymore.
Oh, okay. I want to know about the beginnings of Double, because it was, you know, the next step, you know.
It was the next step, yeah, true, because we were a trio with Ping Pong. And when the bass player left, Felix and I remained. But Felix at the time was just a drummer. But he was also a piano player, but he didn't play the piano with Ping Pong. And so he was forced to we both were forced to play anything we could, because we were only the 2 of us. Yeah. Unfortunately, he started to play the piano again, and and 2 years later, he came up with a melody, which was genius.
You know, it was easy for you, you know, that beginning of the band, of the group?
No, it wasn't easy at all. I mean, the first maxi single we released sold 44 copies. I mean, imagine 44 copies. I could sell 44 copies to my friends. I mean, the record company selling 44 copies, I said, no, that's not true. I said, yeah, it's just, you know, it's difficult. It's, you know, it's underground music. It's like, okay. But then it went on with Rangoon Moon. The next, they sold like 4,000. And then Woman of the World was another maxi single. They sold 25,000. And then the record company finally said, okay, I think now you got a following that makes sense to make an album. And then we were allowed to make an album because we had to finance it somehow.
Yeah, I know. And then, you know, I want to know about that smash hit, because it was a lovely melody. I love that song. We here in Argentina, or all the countries in Latin America, we call this kind of music like lentos, you know, slow music, lentos, because it's like to be, you know, with your partner there. So it was a smash hit, you know. It was number 8 in United Kingdom. It was 16 in the Billboard charts. I think that, you know, you told me about your beginning, and then, you know, this hit, I think it was something crazy.
Too long ago, too long apart, she couldn't wait another day for.
Yeah, it was not only lento, it was too slow at the time, because in the radio they played like dance music, disco, and like all had 120 beats per minute, and then we came up with this slow number. They said, that's too slow, and what is happening in the middle part? There's nothing happening. I said, yeah, that's a good thing. It's nothing happening there. It's just the piano. I think in the end, it was a last-minute decision from the record company to release it as a single, because they actually wanted to release I Know a Place, which is an up-tempo tune. But in the end, the secretaries in the record company convinced them that this song sticks in the ear, because they started to whistling on the floor, and they convinced the A&R department, hey, this is the one. And fortunately, they released it as a single, which wasn't common at the time.
Yeah, I know. Who made that idea, you know, the instrumental, the lyrics?
I made the lyrics, but later, because Felix came up with this melody, and he said, and I said, hey, that's a nice melody, where you got that from? And he said, I was practicing my piano, and the windows were open, and there was a blackbird on the tree next to the window, and the blackbird went, You know, this is the typical Blackbird. These two notes. It's E G E G, and he started to improvise on these two notes, and then he came up with this melody, and I said, "Hey, let's do something with it. It's great."
The captain of the heart.
Wow. And why the captain of her heart? You know, because I don't know if this is normal, but it's sometimes difficult to say the captain of her heart. You know, why this title?
Her heart.
Her heart. Yeah.
It's her heart. Yeah. Yeah. It's it's the third person that I'm viewing it. You know, I'm outside. I just watch it. I watch this woman at night. And she has a very hard time because she makes a decision not too long for him, not to wait for him anymore. Yeah. And in the morning, she makes this decision. What happens next? I don't say, because I got a lot of correspondence later when social media was big, and people ask me, but what did she do after that? Did she kill herself, or did she marry another guy? And I said, I don't know. It was just something that I was looking at, and it was in my head, and it came to me also very quickly. And I thought this is a very important moment in the life of this fictional woman, and that was it.
Then in 1988. You decided to make your solitary career. I want to know why that decision.
It was 1989, actually. 1987, we released a second album, and there was a song called "Devil's Ball."
Where all my devils won't have a ball.
And it did quite well in South America, especially in Chile, I think. But anyway, after the second album, we went into the studio to record a third album, actually. But while we were recording, we saw that our ideas of music were completely different, because I was living in Paris at the time and Felix was still living in Zurich, so we didn't communicate enough anymore, and he wanted to create more cinematographic soundscape, and I go back to the pop song that we had on Blue, on the first album Blue, and so we decided to split, and that's why I signed a record deal in Paris, France with Phonogram, and I made my first solo album.
Okay.
But we still remained friends until his death, yeah.
Okay. It was not something bad in your relation. It was something cool, you know.
No, it wasn't bad. It was important that we split, because then it would have been bad, because, you know, when each one has a different idea of what to do, then you start to fight, and you didn't want to start the fight over music. Why?
Just looking for a personal answer. If you could go back in time, would you change something of your career, in your life?
Well, it was a pity that Felix and I weren't able to make a third album, but this wasn't actually the problem. The problem was that we never went on stage with double. You know, we never played live. Yeah. I mean, we played live in the studio. We also played live on some TV shows, but we never played. We never toured. We never went to stage to make a tour, play live in clubs, in venues, and this was a big mistake, because then you have a very quick response from the audience, and you know actually more what you are doing than when you just make records and then you wait until the people are buying it or not, and that was a pity. But Felix had a big stage anxiety. He didn't feel comfortable on stage. Okay. I did, because that's why I had my own band after that, and then I made my own concerts. But with Felix, it wasn't possible, and that was a pity.
Well, thank you very much for this interview. Thank you very much for your time.
It was my pleasure.
I wish you the best, and I hope that maybe in the future you do more stuff. You know, I know that we are in this pandemic situation, but maybe who knows? You know?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a nice
great
day.
time. Bye. Bye.